Audrey Lazzara is the first Showrilly creator to land a development deal through a connection she made on the platform. There was a full circle part of this story because years ago, Audrey cold emailed me with an unscripted idea. It wasn't in my lane, but she kept going. She became one of Showrilly's earliest creators, and now she's made her first deal. We recorded this conversation the day after it happened, so we're both still a little giddy. Audrey Lazzara, welcome. I'm so happy to see you here. Tell me a little bit about yourself and how you grew up and what's been your dream.
Ooh, I grew up with really great parents and amazing parents. Can I say they're very like weird and wacky, and they always were like, be who you are, and they let me be unfiltered. So that's why I'm a freak as an adult, I guess, I'd say. And my dream since, I don't know, it sounds silly, but since I was a little kid, I'd have like these vivid, like lucid dreams about like working in the entertainment industry. And it was just something I really wanted to do. And everyone thought I was going to become a doctor like my dad. But I don't know. It just, since I was a little kid, I'd have these dreams. And I'm like, they just feel too real. Like, I don't know, the universe is like drawing me into that. That sounds really woo-woo, but...
Amazing. Have you tried selling ideas before the usual way, through an agent, through a manager, through your cousin at Netflix?
I wish I had a cousin at Netflix. I need one of those. I guess, like, I've actually met a lot of, like, multimillionaires, and I said, what's, like, the one thing if money didn't matter, or what would you do? And they're all, like, acting or modeling or something in entertainment, and they're like, I just don't know the connections. And I think that's the biggest thing, is that most of us don't know how to go about it. And if there's, like, this bridge that's missing, and that's what Showrilly has done, like, I know it sounds probably, like, overdone to say, but it is really disruptive. There's all these, firewalls, if you will, to get into the industry, like, places are like, we don't take unsolicited information. Like, they say that pretty big, like in bold.
I think everybody on the producer side is concerned about maybe the legalities. Like, are you going to come back to me and tell me that that was your idea all along, even if it might have been something that I've developed prior to meeting you or somebody else has been talking to me about? And I've solved that with Showrilly, of course, but we'll talk more about that later. But did you encounter that?
For the most part, yeah, they just say they don't take any unsolicited information. Also, I like met so many people though. They're like for decades. Like some people are like, I've been trying this for 20 years to try to submit shows.
So you were an early adopter in Showrilly. What was interesting about the idea for you?
Oh, well, this might sound biased maybe, but it was truly because it's you. Because of your accolades. Your resume is insane. You have multiple Emmys, as I'm sure you're aware. And so you feel safe because, there'll be people like, oh, I can get your thing on air. I can get it greenlit. But they don't have that stuff backing them up. And there's so many people, again, like grifters. Maybe it sounds too down, like kind of hopeless. Like, oh, my story is never going to get out there. Or even I can't even pitch it to people. And then it's like this person's giving you this platform and it's super legitimate because he has connections, if I may say, for you, like both ways. So you're like, this is actually going to get out there. And then there could be so many other websites that they say try to copy you, but they can't because you have these accolades and these connections for so many decades in the industry that we know if a producer reaches out to me on Showrilly, it's going to be legit. It's going to be like more than legit. They have so many credits. And then you are also just so warm and like kind. Because of course I'm naturally like nervous and I'm like, oh my gosh. And then I'm like, oh, he's so nice. Yeah, it's just really means a lot.
I'm like, you're turning me all kinds of red. I'm so flattered and so embarrassed. And I wasn't born knowing how to do this. People have helped me along the way so much. The dream is to help. But then the other dream is that other producers, through their feedback, reasons why it might not be right for me, be able to give helpful learning moments to creators who haven't ever had those kinds of conversations before. Like something just so simple as, it might be hard to hear, but like, I am passing on your project, creator, because that sizzle reel was 18 minutes. Like, keep it to 3, my friend. And like, maybe you need to hear that. And so I think that that's something that's really cool that the platform, I hope over time that producers will start to give more and more of that kind of feedback. But anyway, now that my face is back to its natural color, thank you for all of the kind words. You're amazing. But so you were one of the early adopters and you have probably figured out some things about the platform over time.
You literally just like plug and play, if you will. You just put in your idea and it has a kind of a guide, if you will. It's like kind of giving you little examples and you just fill it in. it really is seamless. Like I was nervous the first time I did it. And I remember making my account. I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to know what I'm doing or, embarrass myself, but it's just really straight to the point and it does guide you. And then I was like, oh, that's it. And then you start getting feedback. I don't know. They just have to really try it themselves.
Audrey, you are so kind to me, but I think that I just caught you on this amazing day
Because a really well-known producer that has like 25 plus things on IMDb, wink, of just a lot of documentaries and films, and you will definitely recognize the things that she's worked on, that I'm getting a development deal and we're working on that right now. So it's pretty exciting, more exciting. I guess this is on camera so people know I definitely cried because I'm like a happy crier. Like if I see a kid and I cry. And so when I was like, Showrilly, I got like this deal. This is crazy. It was very surreal. I was like in shock, and then I was like so energized. I ran around. I have goats, so I ran around with my goats. And then I'm like, I gotta tell Adam, the creator of Showrilly. I'm like, hopefully that's not weird. I was like, I gotta tell him like immediately.
Well, was I your first? I got that email from you. Did you call mom? Did you call dad?
How'd you know? I did call mom. I did. She was in shock, and she was really confused at first. And she's like, what? And then like I had to like send her all the different like your accolades and then the other producers' accolades. And she's like, oh my God, this is legit. Cause she just thought like, oh, my dumb kid just did something random. But she didn't. She's like, oh, these are really legitimate producers. Like,
So tell me a little bit more about how it kind of rolled. You got that email with the subject line, producer ping. Then what happened from there?
I know, I get nervous and then excited because you're like, it's either going to be something amazing or constructive criticism. So either way, it's like someone's like looking at your stuff finally after all these years. So I got it, and then it was just really quick. Like, let's jump on a phone call. Like, I want to talk to you about this. So I'm like, of course, if she ever sees this, I was like definitely like nervous and hyperventilating before. And I was like, oh no, don't screw this up. And then she's, of course, super, super nice and just, again, great energy. And then we talked for a while about the concept, and then she just was like, do you want to do this? Like, let's develop it. And I was like, what? Like, I'm a really positive person. I would say most people, it never does happen. Like, their show never does get created realistically. And so, again, like, yeah, I thought of the idea in 2017 when I was a young lass. Now I'm, older. And so, like, fast forward, then it got on a site, and then pretty much, I would say pretty immediately, then I had a producer that's very legitimate call me and was like, let's develop it, let's start working on it. I have my whole team on it. So, like they always say, like a success story overnight, but it's just the right connection, which would be you and Showrilly, happened, and then it just happened immediately.
Wow. But it didn't happen immediately because you've been on the site for a little while, right? Like it's been a few months. You're making me crazy nervous right now because I'm thinking that everybody is going to say, well, I've been on there for 6 days now. How come I can't be like Audrey? Right? But Audrey was on there for some time before the right producer looked at it, and the timing had to be right as well for her, because it had to be like at the right moment in her development cycle, moment for like the exact set, the networks that she pitches to. I wonder, did you ask her what buyer did she have in mind?
She was talking to a major network, but I didn't ask the day before, and she was saying specifically what they wanted, and that's why it did align.
So then she probably went on and she probably did a search for whatever that search term would have been, or whatever genre that would have been, or whatever region, and there you were.
Like, oh, this is exactly the thing they're looking for. So yeah, just lined up perfectly. But of course, only because the site Showrilly exists that it even showed up, right? So
you got a development deal, and I have to say, you are the first. That's is why I am just so excited. So congratulations, Audrey, and a little congratulations, Adam, because I've been working on this too. And what is a development deal? What's going to happen next?
Basically, her and our team will work together to just get everything done, like the sizzle reel, to show to the network, to basically get it greenlit, essentially. But she just said she knows multiple networks, that she's pretty confident that it'll get picked up by a network. But she said that's like what they're looking for. So maybe you can describe it better for me.
I will. So did you have a sizzle reel? Did you have a deck? Did you have, what were your materials that you pitched with?
I guess that's also fun for people. I didn't have actually a sizzle reel, which I know you guys should do. But that one, I did a pitch deck instead for that one.
The rest is she met you and she liked the vibe.
Hopefully.
I don't know exactly what you came in with in terms of like talent attached or exclusive access, or maybe you had archival, but these are some of the things that I think are like really, really hot, what producers are looking for.
Yeah, I did actually have talent attached and things like that. But then I started only like doing my pitches based on things that I have like a special connection to, that people trust me. And so that kind of got me thinking, like, what worlds am I involved in that are kind of, unusual, that haven't been seen by the world, instead of just pitching kind of, if you will, generic type that anyone could make.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, what I like to say is that we as producers, we have shelves full of our own half-baked ideas that didn't sell. I'm looking for something that is like ready to go. They've got talent, they've got tape, they've got archival, they've got access, they've got something, one of these categories that is unique, that doesn't just make it this kind of like generic thing that is like everything else, that idea, every other undeveloped idea that I've had on my own. So I think you must have had one or many of those check boxes filled for her. But to answer the question that we were talking about, what is the development deal? What she's going to do next, of course, is whatever of those that you didn't have, she's going to want to flesh it out, fill it out, and whatever you did, take another second look at it. I'm sure that she has a big brain. You have a big brain. She's got her own team there. She has a relationship with the network that she has in mind for it. And so the broadcaster will also have a kind of like a lens that they want to put on it. And so she's going to want to develop it more. Even if you had the best sizzle and the best deck, and you had spent, $500,000 to make it amazing. And I'm, not saying you need to, because you didn't, like, you could just come in with a log line and some pictures and a couple paragraphs and look where it can take you. But she would still want to put her own lens and the network's lens on it anyway. And so this goes to something else that I tell people, and it goes to something we said a moment ago about, like, don't come to me with that, 16-minute sizzle reel. I can't watch the whole thing. Also, parallel to that, don't go and spend all of your money on producing a whole pilot, because A, like we said, they don't want to watch it, but B, like, they want to be able to develop it with you. They want to put, like, they know who their audience is, right? They know why viewers come to our network. And when they know that, then they want to put that lens over your concept. So all that to say, I don't need to tell you, you figured it out.
Maybe this is bad advice, but I would not like maybe a little crazy, like, go to the extreme, I think. I don't know. Like, when you're doing the log line, it has to scream at the producers looking at it, because they're going to look at so many, and they've looked at so many, I think, over the years. But I was like, just put yourself out there. And I honestly kind of go with your gut instinct. And then just be, I think, maybe malleable is a wrong word, but just kind of flexible. Yeah, when you're talking to them, they're like, oh, would you want to go this direction or that direction? And I was like, either way, as long as it gets sold, like, I'm very malleable, within reason, So I think that's a huge thing. And then really the other big thing was to have talent attached and to have the access, or both. I think those are the biggest things, because that's one of the things I was asked, like, immediately, like, we just want to confirm based on your write-up that you do have the access and all this stuff. And I'm like, yes. And then the talent attached. And so I think that's the biggest thing, right? Because if not, then they could just go and use somebody else if you don't have that access.
What were the other questions that she asked you on that first call?
It's just mainly getting kind of my story as well, because I could potentially, that's why I thought this was like the one that was like meant for me to definitely get picked up, because I could be part of the talent attached. I don't have to be, but I do fit into that world, that if we needed like one of those talents, we could be, or I could just be a producer as well. So she asked a lot about my background with that story and kind of what was my experiences. And then, so that's actually mainly what we talked about in the call, to see like what kind of story could it be based on so I think that's why it's so important, it's the talent attached and the access, because it was actually me, like, I had lived it, so I could give her a lot of advice. And same with, like, say I don't end up being the talent attached but just a producer, but when we're casting people and talking to people, you can make them feel more at ease, especially if it's a more unusual like subject. So I think it's kind of invaluable, really. If you do something and you care about, I think it really just kind of like you exude it. So I think that helps, because we both had so much energy, because she believed in it and she understood, like, by talking to me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You really put yourself out there with this one. It sounds like it was something that was very close to your heart. Go with what you know, right? What you have access to, are willing to spend time and energy on that's of interest to you, right? And then you said something a moment ago about, you said again, putting yourself out there. A mistake that I see a lot of creators making, and I know that. Well, you tell me, you tell them. Every one of your concepts, and do you want to? You have a bunch, right?
I do. I do. Watch out, guys. I'm just kidding.
She might get number two as well, but you have a bunch, and that's something. Are you expecting to just put one concept up and then sell that? Like maybe if you're Mark Burnett, but I think most producers have a few irons in the fire, right? Wouldn't you say?
That's true. I don't look like him, you don't believe in me? No, I agree. I think statistically you want to put more in, but I guess the whole quality over quantity. But I think most people have so many, I think, beautiful ideas in their head, but they're afraid to put it out there. And I think it's usually, may sound cheesy, but I think the more vulnerable ones are the best ones, the ones that haven't
Yeah.
been told.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Yeah, and you'd be shocked. This would be a horrible analogy, but like, like Simply Orange. This is really silly, but when I was a little kid in like soccer, they gave us like tangerines like at the hydration breaks, and I was like, oh, someone should just make like a Simply Orange juice. Like this is silly. And then of course, like years later, they made it. It's a billion-dollar company. I'm like, anyone could have thought of it, including a 4-year-old like me. And so there's so many stories. You're like, why haven't they been told yet? And I think a lot of times it's maybe shame or taboo. And I like, that's the ones that, I don't know if I can say feel sexy to me, or like the taboo ones, or the ones that are a little more salacious, even if it's not salacious in the normal way you would think about it. I just think there's probably most people on earth have a great idea that they're maybe too afraid to put themselves out there. So I'd say be vulnerable. And I think those are the ones like, come on, the ones that we binge watch on Netflix, they're pretty salacious. Let's be honest, in one way or another.
Yeah, I mean, this brings me back to a friend of mine who put together a show called MILF Island. I think that was the name of it.
Oh no, yes. This
Do
is
you know that
amazing.
show?
Okay.
You know that show. And so, oh, wait, you want to tell the story about that? Now I'll finish mine.
Oh no, it's okay. It was just kids I grew up with, like on my block, like that all the guys I grew up with, they all just that night when it premiered was like, this is the best show ever. Like, so, why did no one think about this? And it was just like bombardment in the group text. So I don't know, it's just never seen so much joy in their faces until the days they got married. But like, other than that, they were so happy.
So I was with Alejandro, and he hadn't pitched this yet. He hadn't developed it yet. It was just an idea. And I was like, boom, that one is going to sell. That little bit of like, why didn't I think of that? And that's what you're
Yes.
talking about. It's like when you have something that no one else has thought of, don't feel like, well, no one else is doing it for a reason. It must be garbage. Maybe no one else is doing it because, it's like, it might be in front of you, but it's not in front of them. And I've been onboarding a lot of producers recently, and I've been seeing that expression on their face when I talk about Showrilly. Oh, why didn't I think of that? Because it is a good idea. It's going to work. Like, look at you. I mean, this is working already. But just to circle back now, you were putting yourself out there in a way that I think that a lot of other people could learn from. So tell us, did you put a bio up?
I did, and I honestly forgot about the bio because she was like, "Oh, you grew up here and here." I was like, "How'd you know that? You're psychic or something?" So they read it. That's the thing. And I'm like, this is kind of embarrassing, but my friends are like, "Do it." So yeah, like the banner is a picture of me, the profile is a picture of me for like the bio and all those pages. And same for actually the show that got picked up. A lot of the slides are me because I was potentially one of the talent attached, and then so. As much as I'm a very talkative, I guess, outgoing, I'm really an introvert. So, like, for me, that was like a big step. I think was just to just be like loud and proud kind of thing.
It worked. A nice picture that tells the story of what this concept is really about. And then you've got a title that might hook them even further. They're going to want to read more about it. And that's the name of the game. When you're a producer in the pitch room, so you might see dozens of concepts scrolling through, right? Which ones are you going to read more about? You're going to read the one that grabs you. You're going to be the one that's got a cool image attached to it that explains what the show is about. And also, like, that's probably the kind of person that I want to do business with, is someone who really cares, someone who's going to take time to get it right and put in that extra bit of effort. So as a producer, like, that's meaningful to me also. Any other advice that you would give from your experience as our first Showrilly success story?
Ooh, listen to Adam. But no, the photos are great. a great option. Like, I think the biggest thing is genres and what you put your documentary into, because if you put the wrong thing, it's not going to be really searchable and found. So I think be really specific. You might think it's like a true crime, but then if you look at it and really peel it back, you're like, maybe it belongs in a whole different category. You have to think about like outside of yourself, like you're so attached to your idea. You might want to think how the producers are really looking at it and maybe have other people look at it too to give you advice.
That is a great point. This is what is going to help your concept come up in search. If they're looking for a documentary and you don't tag it as a documentary, right? It probably could fit in a couple other genres. And don't you want those producers who are interested in those to have a chance to read it as well? Don't you want it to show up in search? Any other advice or tips, or like, what are you going to do next?
Oh, maybe you've made me drunk with power. I'm like, I don't. This is a really old book. Because this sounds creepy, but you have a journalism background too, right? Or am I like
do.
totally off base?
Yeah, my background. Yeah.
I might have looked that up like in 2017. Okay, I was like, I remember, but I don't know. Do you know who Charles Kuralt was at all?
Of course, yeah.
Okay,
yeah. We still watch CBS Sunday Morning now. I mean, he's not there obviously, but we still watch that show.
Oh, okay, so do you remember like the book On the Road with like Charles Kuralt?
Yep. Yeah.
So like no one knows that. It's like out of print. It's great. Find out your local library. But we had to read this when I was in journalism in like high school. That's also partially why I emailed you. I know, weird. The universe. I'm like, hey, this is the producer. But I think that would encourage people because his book, right? He was literally just going to like middle America, like you just like kind of middle of nowhere, right? And interviewing people, and they had the most beautiful stories. Things that we normally don't have access to. It'd be like a mom and pop's diner, but they had this like the coolest stories about their marriage or whatever it was, growing up in the Dust Bowl, whatever. And so I think that's something I've learned, and that's why I'm getting drunk with power. I'm like, I just want to learn about so many people. Like, there's someone recently that I met that has a very interesting connection to like the Black Dahlia case, right? One of the most infamous true crime stories. And it's like I wouldn't have met people if I didn't get out there. And I think so that's a long-winded answer, but what I want to do next is really kind of do a little Charles Kuralt and like actually go around and just meeting people. I kind of want to go, maybe this is too cavalier and this is partially your fault. You've inspired me, kind of want to do like a Charles Kuralt and get those stories and then pitch them when you find like the really good ones. And then, I don't know. See, you're going to make me cry because I'm so excited. And that's really what Showrilly has done in you, because again, it goes beyond the site. That's why the site is successful, is because it's you. And like, you can tell your heart and soul. You can tell you have this passion, this light in your eyes when you do it. I could tell that even when you're emailing, I'm like, this guy's fun. And like, this guy really cares. And so okay, it sounds weird, but okay. So because I know you kind of asked, but my dad passed away when I was 15. So many years ago, but was an amazing father. And like, but it felt like another father figure, as weird as that sounds. So like you giving me this pep talk, I'm like, oh, like, I don't know, it meant a lot more than probably you'll ever know. And I feel like you've probably touched a lot of people's lives that you don't even know by doing this, because it is life-changing. And I think it's an opportunity that I don't think I would have had otherwise, to be honest, because there is such a firewall. So like Showrilly has bridged that. So thank you.
Well, now you're going to make me emotional too. Thank you. We should just leave it there. There's nothing else to say.
Yay!
Thank you, Audrey. Congratulations, Audrey. I'm so proud of you. It's so happy for you. And I hope that we'll continue this conversation as you proceed through the next steps of development. And hopefully you'll come back and next time you'll have even more good news.
Yes. Well, thank you again. You're amazing and I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too. Thank you so much.